Hey metalheads, you like tattoos? Of course you do. If you're in the Louisville, Kentucky area, come on over the bridge to Clarksville, Indiana, and get you some ink done at Ageless Art. If ink isn't your thing, they have a piercing studio as well. Visit agelessartclarksville.com to see some frequently asked questions, meet the staff. The shop is open Monday through Thursday, 12 to 8 p.m., Saturdays, 12 to 10 p.m., and Sundays, 12 to 6 p.m., all appointment-only spots. You can set up your appointments by phone at 812-283-1793 or email agelessarttattooandpiercing@gmail.com and someone will get you set up for your first or your next tattoo or piercing.
Hey, it's Jeff McNichol down here at Mom's Music, 1900 Melwood Avenue. I was just thinking, when I was a kid, the magic was at Frankfort Avenue, the Mom's Music at Frankfort Avenue, and I used to beg people to get a ride down there just to hang out with the guys and see all the cool gear. Now that I'm the owner of this store, it's like a dream come true. We're recreating the magic with the vibe that we used to have at the old store. We're carrying all the gear that you're going to possibly want. We're giving you the outstanding service and personal attention that you deserve. Yeah, so we've got the great guitar shop here. We're carrying USA Fender, USA Gibson, Paul Reed Smith, Gretsch, Jackson, Charvel. Anything you could possibly want, we're going to have it for you. Mom's is and always will be Louisville's music store.
Thank you for tuning into the Metal Forge. I am Mark Jackson and I am your host. The premise of the show is pretty simple. Awesome interviews and awesome music. If you want to contact me, hit me up at metalforgeradio@gmail.com or visit the website metalforgeradio.com. And now let's get this show on the road. Thank you all for tuning into this week's episode of the Metal Forge. My name is Mark Jackson, and I am your host. This week, I have Rich Treadway from the band Blood of Heroes from Illinois here on the Metal Forge. And I got a chance to sit down with Rich and talk to him a few weeks back. And it's super cool, dude. I think you're really going to dig this one. But before we get into that, it's coming down to the end of the year. And I always like to ask people, what's the album of the year for you? What's your top 5? What's your top 10? And I sent out on social media the deal where I was like, name your top 10 albums of the year. And I sent it to some other people as well, just off the record, and said, hey, what are some of yours? And I was really interested in getting back some of these lists because over the next few weeks, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you some of these lists. And then by the end of the year, which, the Metal Forge will have a show on December 31st as well, I'm going to give you my list. And we might have some other things in store for you. So, Paul from Soulgrinder Zine gave me a top 10 list. I'm going to go through his top 5 right now. Number 5, Nemesis, The Scales of Fate. Hell yeah. Number 4, Nataka, in the self-titled. Number 3, Inhuman Condition, Rat God. Number 2, Cannibal Corpse, Violence Unimagined. And number 1 for Paul from Soulgrinder Zine is Solstice, Casting the Die. That's super cool to me. I'm not familiar with all of those albums, but I definitely have something to check out for damn sure. Colin Canton, he's a big supporter of the page and everything. He usually comments on pretty much every post or likes every post that we make. Shout out to you, Colin. Hopefully the holidays are good for you, buddy. And he gave me some pretty cool ones too. And he gave me some in not any particular order. So I'm going to go with these. Wraith was one of them. The new Wraith album, Undo the Chains. Inhuman Condition is on his list as well. Grave Rippers, Radiated Remains is on his list. Plague Fever is on his list. the new Morgul Blade, which, you know, shout out to those guys too. They were on last year with Fell Sorcery Abounds. And he also gave me Cursed Be Thy Kingdom from Bewitcher, which is super cool. And his number 1 was Demiser's debut, which is Through the Gate Eternal. Fucking right, dudes. Definitely going to check into some of these that I have not got to hear myself and see what is up with that. Because it's, you know, if it's coming from you guys, hey, I know that it's probably fucking rad shit, right? Right. And the last one this week is my brother from down under, Danny Von Giles. We're going to go with his list. And it is Dying Wish, Fragments of a Bitter Memory, Hidden Intent, Dead End Destiny, Pizza Death, Slice of Death, The Plague, Within Death, Enforced, Kill Grid, Persona Non Grata by Exodus. That just recently came out, but I haven't got a chance to listen to it. I have heard great reviews about it, though. His awesome, I guess this is his number 1 album, is actually Dr. Colossus. And the name of the album, if you're a Simpsons fan, you're going to love this and you're going to get it, is I'm a stupid moron with an ugly face and a big butt, and my butt smells, and I like to kiss my own butt. So, super cool album titles for sure. But yeah, some of these I'm really interested in getting into to seeing what they're all about. Keep those lists coming. We've still got a few more weeks where I can read off some more of them. Down below, there are links to the sponsors, and without you guys supporting them, they can't support the Metal Forge either. And I am so grateful that you all do help these businesses. Whether you're listening to their podcasts, you're buying instruments from them, you're going and getting tattoos, you're going to the Discogs page. Thank you all so much, and continue to please support all of these guys. You know, Ageless Art, Tattoo and Piercing, Mom's Music, Maxwell's House of Music, Better Days Records, Unchained Tapes, Mercenary Press, The Wrestling Steve Show, The Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast, the It's Gonna Get Weird Podcast. Keep supporting those guys, because every bit helps us at the Metal Forge, and it helps them too. Also, making sure you all click on the Spotify playlists as well. You get to hear all of the previous bands that have been on the show, and you'll be supporting those people as well too. Thank you all. So let's go ahead and get into this episode with Rich Treadway from Blood of Heroes. This is from their Symbolic Voices album. This is Symbolic Voices. All right, everybody, I'm being joined on the line right now from Danville, Illinois. Awesome little town. I love it. It's been a while since I've been there, with Rich from Blood of Heroes. Rich, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Just sitting out here at Carl's, man, getting ready to play a little bit later on tonight. Just relaxing, getting ready.
Hell yeah. So you're from Danville, and
Yeah.
I've been to Danville quite a bit, and I always looked at it as like, from where I, being near a big city, like, like you're what, about an hour and 10 minutes from Chicago, maybe?
Well, downtown's like 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But just to get to the outside, the outer bank of Chicago, you're probably looking at about an hour and a half, I'm sure.
Yeah. If I'm driving, definitely.
Definitely. So the thing that always...
My dad was a race car driver, man, so you can, kind of put that in perspective.
Oh, hell yes. So to me, being from the Louisville area, being around a bigger city and stuff like that too, when I went to Danville the first time, just to scope out the scene and see how things were going, I was like, oh my gosh. It was almost like I stepped into a time machine and went back to 1991.
Right. There's a lot. I mean, it went through some transformation. So, you probably hit it at a good time.
Definitely. And it was so cool because it brought back a lot of those childhood memories that I had,
Right.
And it was a fun small town to be in. There was a bar on almost every corner at the time, and there was always live music going on in all of the bars when I was up there a lot. And I don't think a lot of, your bigger cities have a lot of that stuff, but it still seems a little bit more spread out. But I don't think a lot of smaller towns in America are tight knit as Danville was.
Right. Well, I mean, of course, I've went through damn near every rock and roll, metal genre, decade after decade after decade. I watched it evolve. So, I'm one of the old guys, man. I listen to music from the 70s, because
Definitely.
my parents always had it going, so kind of grew up on, Aerosmith and Bad Company and Foghat and Nazareth and, but I watched it all progress, and I had Black Sabbath's first album as a kid.
Nice. And now you're the elder statesman of the music scene there.
Yeah. So, I used to have a festival there. I started it in 2007 and done it several years. And I was in another band back then called Boomslang and stuff. And we did really, really well. And they actually played our music on the radio. People would call and request it. So, it kind of opened things up a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, wow, man, there's an original band out here that's close by, and they're really getting some noise out there, some positivity. And, we got an offer to open up for Jackal in 2008, man, and sold that arena out. There's 4,500 people at the Palmer Arena,
Hell
so
yeah.
It was a feel good thing, and, the radio station died in like 2009. The guy came in and said, "Hey, what are you doing playing all this metal on here?" And, stuff like that. And the guy was from like Connecticut or something. And he came in and he's like, "We're not doing this anymore." He came in there and just shut that radio station down. And it was a beast, man. Let me tell you, it had a big reach, man. I mean, a huge reach. And they come in and change it, man. It's an old country hag station now, man. So everything just kind of slowly just, went away. When 99.1 went down, because it was Everything That Rocks is what it was called, so they played Pantera and, some of the heavier stuff. And, people just loved it, man. And there was a lot of people that would, go in there and pay money to, have radio advertisement, and the same people would sponsor my festivals.
Right.
So all of that just kind of
dried
apart,
up.
man. Just fell apart, bro. And it's hit or miss now. There is a new place there now called the 210. I will be doing another huge festival there next year. So, the people that listen to this, just watch the Blood Heroes page, because when I announce it, it's going to be a big thing. There's going to be some nationals in. So
hell yeah.
Yeah, it'll be in the summertime. So, just have everybody, come to the Blood Heroes page and follow us and pay attention, because it's going to happen. And it's a huge venue. It's an outdoors, got a massive stage. It's about a 30 by 40 foot stage and a massive PA system. And it's just, it's amazing, man. I mean, if people are interested in looking at it, you can just go to the 210 page, you know, exit 210. It's actually Oakwood, Illinois, but it's still in Danville to me.
Right.
But they could see how big that stage is and the layout, man. It's just amazing.
Hell yeah. Looking forward to hearing some more about it. But that's what we're here to talk about. Blood of Heroes. Tell everybody out in Metal Forge land about Blood of Heroes.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like almost accidental, really. You know, when Boomslang went down, I knew I wanted to take a break, you know, because I've been pushing so for 14 and a half years with Boomslang. I just wanted a break, man. So I took all of 2015 off. You know, I met a kid who was his father was married to my cousin, and he came to one of my last Boomslang shows, and I did a tribute to the Hawk. He was one of the Legion of Doom, you know, the wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely.
What a face paint.
What a rush.
Yes.
That's how I get. And that's who I channel when I announce songs on the show is Hawk.
Yeah. That's I love that guy, man. And so I did a tribute to him, and you know, they brought that kid to the show. And my cousin Missy come up to me and said, "Hey, I got something to tell you." I was like, "What's that?" He's been diagnosed with cancer. I'm like, "What?"
Aww.
I'm like, "This kid's young, man," you know? So we developed a friendship, and, you know, we started talking, and, you know, and he'd have bad days and stuff like that. So he'd hit me up and we'd talk, and I'd try to, you know, give him a boost. And 2 weeks before he had passed, he had called me and we were talking, and he's like, "I'm going to tell you something, man, that I haven't told my parents, man." I was like, "What's that, bro?" He's like, "I'm afraid to die, man." And I was like, oh, it hit me so hard, man, you know, because I lost a child too, bro. So it hit me it's like a gut punch, man. And I was tearing up. I didn't want him to know that, you know, so I was holding back. And I said, "Brother," I said, "I'm going to tell you this right now. When I start this next band, I'm going to wear face paint because you liked it so much. So when my next band comes around, we're going to wear face paint just for you, brother, to keep your spirit alive." And he said, "You'd really do that for me?" And I said, "You damn right." So that's where the Blood of Heroes comes from. Cause he's like, "Man," he's like, "You're my hero, man." I said, "No, bro, you're my hero, man. I'm not your hero at all. You're my hero." So that's where the Blood of Heroes comes, because he was married into my family, which is blood, right? So
definitely.
That's where that came from. So,
wow, man, that's an incredible story.
Yeah.
That's just,
so, you know, there were some people that, you know, I've been around and played with and shared, you know, shows with and stuff like that. And just so happened that one of the guitar players, you know, he just hit me up. He's like, "Hey, man, what's going on, dude?" And I'm like, "I'm just taking a break, man." And he's like, "You interested in maybe jamming and see what we can come up with?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you know, all right." You know, I said, "See what you got." He's like, "Well, I'm going to bring my son with me, man. 17 years old. I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "Nick?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Nick's really got his chops up, man." I'm like, "Okay." So we just started jamming, man. And the next thing you know, bro, I was writing lyrics to some songs. And, you know, another friend of mine that was, you know, that we had tried to get something going, you know, on the outside of Boomslang, you know, just kind of a little side project. He jumped in on bass. And next thing you know, man, we're rolling. You know, we jumped in the studio in 2017 with a fresh, brand new album.
Definitely. It's Symbolic Voices, the album. Yep. Looks like it actually was released in
18. It came out. Yeah, we was in the studio all of 2017 up in Madison, Wisconsin at Megatone Studio. So, you know, we tried to get it done sooner, but it's just, you know, our lifestyles and jobs and stuff like that.
You know, and it's not the same.
Yeah, we also had to wait for, you know, for our opportunity to go back up there, because he was busy, man. I mean, he was recording bands like every week, every weekend, so we just had to wait our turn, you know.
Right. And I think that's the earmark of a studio is if they're worth their weight in gold if they're always busy.
Yeah. Well, they did my first album too on Boomslang, which, you know, done a killer job, so that's why I went back.
So Symbolic Voices, 10 songs, just under an hour of music, which is, I think that's about right. I think lengthwise, much more than that. There's bands out there that put out like 75 minutes of music or 78 minutes of music that try to maximize that CD. And it's just like, sometimes that feels like it's way too long.
Yeah. I mean, I've always been the guy that doesn't want to write a 7 or 8 minute song. I don't know, man. I mean, I know there's a lot of bands out there that have those lengthy songs like that. I think Iron Maiden is notorious for it. I'm not taking nothing away from them. You know what I'm saying? That's just their style, but it's not my style.
Right.
Or our style, my band style. It's just not our style. And, 3 to 4.5 minutes. I know Symbolic's probably the longest song. I think it's like close to 6 minutes or something. I can't remember exactly, but that thing, it's a masterpiece. That song's a masterpiece to me, and it's very deep. So yeah, we do have a long song. So, but the majority of them are in around 3.5 minutes to 4.5 minutes. I think that's good enough.
Right. And again, it locks in a groove.
Yes. Because
sometimes it can feel daunting as a listener to listen to a song that's 7, 8, 9 minutes long. And believe me, I've released a couple of songs that way myself, where it'd be like 9 minutes. And yeah, that is, it's sometimes it's really fun to play that, but like being on the receiving end of it, it's just like sometimes if the audience isn't into it, you're just going to be like, oh my gosh, when does this end? And I've been there, believe me, I've been there as a listener, so I get it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I just like the short, heavy, hooky songs, and that's what I've always hung my hat on, man. And it's not going to change now. So
absolutely. And I mean, yeah, you've got the idea behind it. You know where you want to go. You know what you want to do. So why change it? Right.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I've been doing this since 1987, bro. So, I've watched, witnessed, and you got to pay attention to what lures the fans, even watching other bands play, like, oh man, that was cool, man. People really dug that, and that was a little different, that was cool too, man. People dug that, it's just, I'm always paying attention. I'm still learning to this day, it's just, music's always developing, but I also am not into trying to recreate the sound. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I see a lot of bands trying to recreate stuff, man, and they get lost. And, a lot of these younger dudes, when they watch Blood of Heroes play, I mean, it just seems like here recently everybody's asking me for information or a tidbit here and there, and I'm like, look, I went to a seminar in Chicago. We played the Mob Fest in 2005 and finished 4th out of 100 bands. And I went to this seminar with John Kay, which is the producer for Disturbed, and I sit there and listen to his panel. And the key thing that he said to all of us, and I say this to every person that asks me for information. John Kay said, I'm just going to lay this out, and it's just simple. A lot of bands don't write songs, they write music. And if you don't understand that, you will never, ever make it. And I sat there, and I'm like thinking about that, you know what I'm saying? Because every band creates music, but do they create the song?
Right.
It has to be a whole complete song, and I'm talking musically, lyrically, everything. Okay, that's what lures the people in. They don't care how good you are. You could have the best lineup in the world, if they can't write a damn song, then it's worthless. They're not ever going to get anywhere. And I tell these young cats that, and they look at me like, man, dude, I never even thought about anything like that. I'm like, well, it's the truth. That's just where it's at. It's so saturated out there right now because everybody's trying to recreate the will of music, instead of, going back and just, hey man, pull back a little bit, do some dynamic breakdowns, maybe some more half times, just make the song special.
Right.
Okay? And, a lot of people just don't get that, bro. I mean, I don't know why, but they just don't. I mean, there are some that do, don't get me wrong. I've seen a lot of good bands, bro. And, that's where it's at for me. If you don't write, if I'm watching you as a fan and I don't take something away when I walk away, then I just don't feel like it was a song. It was just music.
Right. Well, and I think too, a lot of that, what you're saying is there are a lot of bands out there today too that that hear something on the horizon, as it were, and then they start playing what that band is playing. And then
Right.
I hate to use, it's not like people use the term copycatting, but
Right.
I don't necessarily think that's an accurate deal, because let's face it. I mean, if anybody wanted to play fast and heavy and sludge, like, you know, you could consider them a copycat of somebody like Motorhead. But,
Right,
you know,
right.
so I don't think the term copycat's the correct terminology, but it's like, it's who you draw inspiration from. And that's where, you know,
yeah, like a heavy influence.
right. And it's like, well, you know, where did you get the inspiration for this song? And it's like, well, you know, I was listening to a lot of Judas Priest at the time, and I thought, you know, that would be a really cool idea to have something that sounded like Judas Priest. Well, it's like,
Right.
okay, but that's the Judas Priest way of doing things, you know,
Right,
or
right.
so that's where I think a lot of reinventing the musical wheel, as you said, comes from.
Right.
Is, you know, okay, well, instead of doing like the way of Judas Priest would do a song, why don't you just do it in the way your band would write it, the way your band would play it already?
Right. Well, you know, when I actually sit down and start writing and I get into a groove, I don't listen to music at all, because
Okay.
I don't want to be influenced. I want everything to come from the heart and my gut. So,
I could get that.
You know, yeah. So when I wrote all the lyrics for the Symbolic Voices album, which there was a couple songs I already had the lyrics written for other songs, they just didn't fit. But for the most part, I just shut it all down, man. I mean, I listen to bluegrass, you know what I'm saying, which is crazy, but I mean, you know, when I'm in writer's mode, I listen to bluegrass music, man, and just step away, because I don't want to be influenced. I don't want somebody to say, man, that sounds like Lamb of God, or man, that sounds like, you know, Cold Chamber or whatever, you know, which I love both those bands, don't get me wrong. But, you know, like Friday night, we played down in Kentucky, and some people kept coming up to me and saying, man, dude, you got that Randy Blythe down. I'm like, no, I got Rich Treadway down. I don't have Randy Blythe down. I mean, I said, I've been on this earth longer than him, so I didn't get my influence from him. So I understand the comparison, and I get it, and I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. It's just, I never go out to sound like anybody or try to sound like anybody. I'm just me, man, you know?
Definitely. And that's all you can do. You can just go out and be the best you can. And I think too, that's where a lot of younger musicians kind of fail, is they're trying to go out and be somebody else. But the thing is like, your fans will know when you're being disingenuous.
Right.
And
I know that, you know, what you're saying, because we played with another band last night in Lafayette, and this guy coming up to me, he's like, man, Rich, what do I got to do different, man? What do I got to do, man? You know, blah, blah, blah. I said, dude, be yourself.
Tell the truth on stage.
Yeah. And believe in yourself. Okay. First and foremost, you have to believe in yourself. Don't go out there trying to impress the fans right off the bat, man, because you're going to fail. You got to believe in what you're doing, man. I said, because you're always developing, you know, you never stop developing. He just kind of cocked his head. He's like, what? I'm like, dude, you master your craft as time goes on. You don't do it overnight. You develop it as it goes on, bro. I said, look at Metallica, for instance. Their first two albums, good, but they developed over time. Look where they're at now. They're millionaires. They developed their craft, you know, and I'll say, hey, so you go from Ride the Lightning to Master of Puppets, dude, that's a big step. They develop a lot.
Yeah, in a very short period of time.
That's what I'm saying. So you're always developing, man. You never stop. You know, he's like, dude, you always have the best inspiration for me, man. I'm like, huh? I'm just an old guy, dude. I've loved music my whole life. I've loved it as a child, and you know, it's what's driven me my whole life. And I've seen a lot, heard a lot. I've been talked down to a lot. I've been told I suck. You know, I've taken all the criticism. I'm still standing here in front of you doing the same thing you're doing, brother. He's like, man, that's why I always like coming to talk to you, because you always lift my spirits, man.
Absolutely.
Like, well, you can't let it beat you up, man. You know, you just can't. You can't let stuff.
Since 2013, there has been a calling from the underground, from the graves of all those unholy, and they decided to make a zine to talk about all of this. Soulgrinder Zine, an independent metal zine to keep you informed on all things metal and horror from the underground. Available in both print and digital formats, they're bringing you the best interviews and reviews out there today. Not only do they do the zine, but they also do compilation CDs. Check them out at facebook.com/soulgrinder.zine and start your subscription now.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day, all with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hey everybody, let me tell you about the new sponsor to the Metal Forge, Unchained Tapes. They're an independent Pennsylvania tape label. They focus on extreme metal and punk with a killer approach to the tape scene. Visit their web store at unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com now to get your fill of tapes. And for being a Metal Forge listener, enter the code METALFORGE10 at checkout to get a 10% discount on your total purchase. That's unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com. Hey, let me tell you guys about Mercenary Press. They're an independent London label and distributor of all things metal. Mercenary Press delivers the goods from their own independent zine. Trust me, you're going to want to get in on that. To distributing various bands from all over the world, including Cramp from Spain and Sadistic Force from Texas. Visit mercenarypress.bigcartel.com to find out what all they have in stock and what you can order. And for Metal Forge listeners, enter code METALFORGE to receive a discount on your total purchase at mercenarypress.bigcartel.com. Check it out now.
There was people, we was doing a show and people were chanting, Conway Twitty or Leonard Skinner or, there's always a group of people there that pay to get in that don't like metal, and some people take that hard, man, and they, that they're being criticized. And I'm like, dude, you just smile at them, smile and wave at them, dude, and do your thing, don't let that stop you. They still paid to get in.
Right, exactly. So what's next for Blood of Heroes? Are y'all currently writing on a new album, or what are we doing?
There's a lot of songs that's been developed. We've been playing so much, man, that we just ain't had time to go rehearse them. I mean, we've been hitting it, man, dude, from summertime up to this point right now, we've been hitting it hard.
Right.
Because the first COVID year, I mean, we did like 5 shows or 6, I think. And, we've hit it pretty hard this year, man, more than expected, actually, and could have done more even, but it's like, we need to start chilling out, man. We've got so much more to do. We got a brand new website being developed right now. There's videos, there's 2 videos that we should have already been done that we haven't even got to yet. I mean, there's just so much that's stacked up that we just can't get to, because we're out here banging these shows out. So, come, January 1, man, we're shutting down for a while, man. So we got to get this done.
Absolutely. And, content is always king, as I say, and making sure you making sure you have the album out there for people to listen to and purchase and download and do whatever. That's got to happen because there's bands out there that have released 1 or 2 albums that live in infamy on stuff like that. But I just couldn't get over it. I'd have to continue, writing and recording as much as I could.
Right. Trust me, man, I got a pile of lyrics, bro. I've got booklets and booklets and booklets full of stuff.
Definitely.
But the COVID year, basically we're a year behind right now. That's where, to put it in a nutshell, we're a year behind because last year the COVID shit fucked us up, man, and we couldn't go in the studios because they weren't open, so we all tried to stay away from each other. And, we've got, my parents are older and I didn't want to, bring COVID into their life. And,
definitely,
we're all trying to save each other's lives, man. So we really didn't do a whole lot last year. So everything was kind of like just pushed back and put on hold. And then, things opened up a little bit for us, man. We ran back out here. It's like, man, let's just run out here, do this little run, let everybody know we're still here. We're still kicking. And then we're going to, take another, few months and, get some of these new songs developed and come back strong, hopefully, midsummer, early fall.
Hell yeah.
New stuff.
Yeah. And hopefully, have a nice, awesome album release or something coming up soon.
Yeah. We're kind of like torn between doing a full album or just doing singles, man, because, the last probably, 5 years, I would say, people just aren't buying CDs anymore, man. They're just not. The vehicles that they're driving around in, majority of the people don't have CD players.
Right. Everything's digital these days, which is
so
a huge thing, that like, I know I always, buy content, buy CDs, whatever I can from the shows that I go to. I always, if a band has an album out, I might not drop the coin for the vinyl, but if they have a CD, I will always buy it because I think that's my preferred media because, it's a collection point at this. I've amassed a great CD collection and I do still listen to them. I do too, man. I have a nice Sony 200 disc changer that is constantly getting rotated with CDs. I could listen to 200 CDs consecutively if I wanted to. It's a large undertaking.
I'll get into a groove like, man, I'm going to listen to Sabotage, man, for the next 48 hours.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or I'll go back and listen to some Priest or, even Wasp. I'll even go back and listen to some Wasp, dude, just to change it up,
Right, definitely.
I loved Wasp when they first came out. I love Blackie Lawless, man, so I don't know. I just go into grooves like that. And then, there'll be a couple of weeks, dude, when I'm driving down the road, I'll just listen to bluegrass.
Hey, there is nothing wrong with that at all. I think it takes all types of music to be a good musician, listening to bluegrass, metal, classic country. I think to be most good to great musicians listen to a variety of music, not just one thing.
Yeah, I love the harmonies. I'm a big thing with the harmony thing, because they always have 3-part harmonies, and when somebody can sit there and play a banjo and sing at the same time, dude, that just blows my mind.
Oh yeah,
my fingers don't even think about coming close to playing like that, man. I'm like, how in the world did you guys ever grasp that?
It's interesting because I can play a little bit, and I say a little bit, meaning tiny little minuscule bit of banjo, and I've got one on the wall here, and I keep picking it up here and there to try and get better, but it is definitely another world.
Yeah, the old moonshiners, when they sat out there sitting in the woods waiting for their runs, to come out, they just picked that instrument up and just kept clucking on it, man. And next thing you know, man, these guys are getting pretty good at it,
Oh yeah.
I think in my mind, I think that's where that came from many, many years ago, man. The moonshiners started that bluegrass, man.
Right. Absolutely. I could totally see that as well because there's nothing else to do just to wait for them to show up.
Yeah, fiddle around, man. Fiddle around, and I don't know. I love it. I love the whole concept of moonshine and then bluegrass, and I tie it all in, you know. And I love apple pie moonshine too, by the way.
So, send him some. No.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was, well, the Butcher Babies came and did my festival back in 2015, and I'd already hung out with Heidi and the girls and Henry, and we were hanging out there at the end of the festival there, and she's like, "Rich, you like apple pie moonshine, don't you?" I'm like, "Yes, I do, man." She's like, "I got some up in the rig. Let's go back there and have some." And we drank for several hours, man, just sitting there shooting the bull and stuff. And then I seen him again in Indianapolis, and she come up to me. She goes, "Rich, I got some more moonshine, bro." I was like, "Oh." So I got to hang out with him. I've got to drink apple pie moonshine with Heidi a couple of times.
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome stuff.
They're great people, man. Great to hang out with.
That's
Anybody's
awesome.
never went and seen the Butcher Babies, you're missing one hell of a show.
Absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over here, and we're going to ask some general profile questions about you, Rich, as a person. In music, what are some of your weaknesses that you want to improve on?
I don't know. I would say probably, I would say anticipation the most, because when you're on the road, you just don't know what to anticipate.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that's my biggest weakness of anything.
Definitely. Yeah, because there's so much stuff that can happen. A blowout, the motor goes out, your gear gets stolen.
I did all that this weekend. I was in a car accident Friday.
Oh, shit.
Coming back from Kentucky yesterday, rod went through the pan of my RV. Getting ready to go out on the road this morning. Dave comes up to me and says, "You planning on going anywhere soon?" I was like, "Yeah, why?" He goes, "Well, the trailer's got a flat on it too, bro." I'm like, What? So I went back there. Sure enough, flat tire.
Oh, geez.
All this happened this weekend, brother.
Dude.
And then I get going down the road. Now the trailer lights don't work. So that's another issue. But yeah, I mean, all that, what you just said, just happened this weekend.
Oh my gosh. The snake bit to her.
But I'm still here.
Absolutely.
I'm
made
still
it
playing tonight. And I made it, and I'm going to play.
What is your favorite part about being a musician?
I've always said this to everybody that asks me that question, and it's the studio work. I like developing the song in the studio. I love bringing it to life. That is my absolute favorite. Now, being on stage is great. To me, that's just the icing on the cake. But my favorite part is absolutely creating in the studio.
Hell yeah. Absolutely. What's your least favorite part?
Oh, I mean, that could be a lot of things, really. I would say probably depending on other people to help you load and unload the equipment.
Yes.
Yeah, we all know that story, trust me. I won't name names, I'm just saying.
Who would be an ideal musician that you would want to collaborate with?
Several, man. I mean, I don't have just one in particular, dude. I mean, I would say in the early going, definitely Chris Oliver from Sabotage, which he's no longer here, he's gone, but I would say him first I just love the guy's guitar playing, and he touches my soul, man. I don't know what it is, dude. I mean, I can listen to Sabotage for hours and hours and hours and hours and never get tired of listening to Sabotage, man. So I guess if I wanted to say 100% favorite, I'd say he's definitely on the top of the list. Vocal wise, probably Mark Hunter from Chimera.
Okay, definitely. Who is a major musician that inspires you?
Currently living, or doesn't matter?
Doesn't matter.
Well, Rob Halford probably inspired him, and Blackie Lawless inspired me the most. So that's 1A, 1B.
Okay. So what qualities of theirs do you admire about them?
Definitely Blackie's theatrical stuff and Rob's just persona. The guy's just got a persona about him. I mean,
no, I get it. Believe me. I already know where you're going with it.
Yeah, I mean, the guy can just stand there and you're just in awe. He doesn't even do anything but blow your fucking mind.
Right. And, in seeing video of him years ago, in like the 80s, he wasn't crazy running back and forth on stage a lot. He was cool. He was calculated. He's still the same way. And I think that's where he has been able to continue his performance, where so many other singers have not necessarily went along the wayside, but you could tell that they've missed a step or two.
Right.
And, I've only seen Priest one time, and that was back in September.
Wow. I've seen him several. And Fight, too, man. I've seen Fight, bro. And I'm going to tell you what.
So good.
So when he did Fight, I mean, when I grabbed that album, I actually got it at Charts, by the way.
Nice.
And when I bought that album, or that actually CD, I took it to work with me, man. And we were doing a big job. And there was like 4 or 5 of us working. And none of those guys even knew I had that, nor did they know that Rob was in Fight. So I played that CD at work, man. And dude, I think we played it from the time we started till the time we stopped, and we just kept playing it over and over, dude, because it was that badass. I mean, Rob took shit to another level with Fight, man.
Yeah, War with Words is like it's a phenomenal album.
Oh my God.
And I recently, I'd heard it before, like on listening to it on YouTube, but one of the other local stores here, close to me, I went in one day and I saw it was packaged. It was a double. It was both Fight albums. And I was like, holy shit, I got to buy this. And I'm glad I did, because I haven't seen another copy of it, and I still listen to it pretty regularly.
Right.
And yes, I agree with Blackie as well. I agree with you on that with his theatrics, because that is, like or not Wasp's music. And I'm not a big Wasp music fan, but their theatrics were always there. They were. Oh yeah, dude.
I've seen them on their Last Command tour. I've seen them on the first one too, but the second tour, on the Last Command, they opened up for Kiss over at Market Square. And I'm going to tell you what, bro, it's hard to upstage Kiss because of their theatrics, but Wasp stole that show.
Wow.
It wasn't even close, bro. Wasn't even close. In fact, I didn't even care to watch Kiss, man. I'm not the biggest Kiss fan. I was there for Wasp. And dude, they tore that place up, man. I mean, everybody was they had their ass handed to them, man.
Definitely.
They put on the best shows I've ever seen in my life.
Hey, Metalheads, it's with great pleasure I get to tell you guys about a new sponsor to the Metal Forge, Ageless Art, New Albany. After 20 years of owning and operating Ageless Art in Clarksville, Indiana, Phil Garrett had a vision for a new type of tattoo studio. Something that is clean and modern, sleek, refined, inviting. And he's done just that with Ageless Art in New Albany. You can find it at 2736 Charlestown Road, New Albany, Indiana, 47150. Business hours are Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Sundays are 12 to 6. All sessions are appointment only, so give them a call and go get you some new ink. Or if it's your first time, go get your first one, baby.
Hey guys, Wrestling Steve of the Wrestling Steve Show here. So if you're currently listening to the Metal Forge with Mark Jackson, then you understand that Mark Jackson has a pretty discerning taste when it comes to music as a whole. You'll also understand that he has a discerning taste for professional wrestling, just like me. My show is called The Wrestling Steve Show. I talk about modern and classic pro wrestling in a completely unbiased, unfiltered way. Be sure to check me out on all available podcasting platforms. That is The Wrestling Steve Show. And I am the host, Wrestling Steve. Just remember, like Confucius said, man who goes through turnstile in Thailand is going to Bangkok. Pro wrestling.
Hey, it's Mark Maxwell at Maxwell's House of Music. Listen, all this stuff is now available to purchase on our website. Check it out at maxwellshouseofmusic.com.
We carry all the top brands, like Fender.
We got Gibson.
We also have basses.
We've got ukuleles.
We got drums.
We've got sound gear.
we've got keyboards.
It's Gonna Get Weird is the name of the podcast. We're on season 2, so you have a whole season to get weird with Frank Green and Scott Clark. The best part is there's always laughter.
Oh, yeah, you can just pull that out.
We have national touring comedians, NFL stars, rock stars, your local friends. It always gets weird. Weird answers.
Have y'all ever snorted coke off of a 78 Pinto? No? You ain't no man.
Weird questions.
Who had a bigger cocaine habit, Jock Sutherland or Kaywood Ledford?
Neither one, because they stopped beating their wives.
And weird we never even thought of.
Well, no. My friend is on acid, and I sent my friend to go find a payphone so that I can call and turn myself in for murdering this guy and ruin my life.
We love all types of people, but we don't love all people.
Weird. It's Gonna Get Weird is the name of the podcast, available everywhere. And thank you to Big X Sports Radio for being a proud sponsor of It's Gonna Get Weird. Frank Green, Scott Clark. Yeah.
What's the best piece of advice another musician has ever given you?
Don't let anybody tell you you're not good enough.
Damn straight. That's great advice. And
yep.
For all the listeners out there, yes, if you're a musician, please take that advice because, you know, people can say you suck, but you know what? Fuck that. You make
right.
what you make the art that you want to make. And fuck what everybody else says.
That's right. I mean, you know, we made fans Friday night that's going to drive clear to Louisville, dude, to watch us on our New Year's Eve show because they liked us that much.
Hell yeah. That's awesome, dude. What do you do to get through stage anxiety?
I don't have it. I've never had stage anxiety, man. You know,
right on.
I've just never had it, man. I mean,
you're a born entertainer then.
Yeah, and a lot of people say that. Everybody that sees me for the first time is like, man, you're a natural. It's like, you know, I've had here actually the last few shows that we've done, everybody's like, man, you are the man on stage. It's like you get up there and you just command it, you know? And I'm like, I've seen the best. You know what I'm saying? I've developed my own thing. I have been influenced by people, Blackie Laws, Rob Halford. I do my own thing. You know, and I've always told everybody, when you see me up on stage, that's Rich Treadway. It ain't anybody else.
Definitely.
I don't try to act like anybody else. I'm me, man. You know, and I've played with people that have major anxiety. In fact, I've played with people that puke every time they just before they go on stage, they throw up.
Yeah. I've only been that way like a couple of times ever where I've felt nauseous before going on. And most of the time it's been around album releases for me.
Right. I mean, when we opened up for Jackal in that sold out arena, everybody's like, man, you got butterflies? I'm like, no. You know, I was like, I'm just ready to get up there, you know, and I didn't have butterflies or, you know, I didn't have it at all. In fact, while, you know, during that show, I told people, I said, that wasn't the most fun I had. And they're like, what? I'm like, no, that's not the most fun I've ever had. They're like, you're kidding me. There's 4,500 people in there. I'm like, I get that. But they were so far away from me. I didn't feel them. I'd seen them, but I didn't feel them. So, you know, like playing these little smaller clubs that we've played here recently, there are people right there in your face. I feel them. I see them. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And that's what I like the most. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll play on a big stage, sold out arena all day long, but I want to feel them. You know what I'm saying? I want to feed off of them.
Definitely. And I think that's, you know, that's a part of being in a front person in a band is, you know, and it's not just being a front person. I mean, obviously guitar players, bass players, drummers, we all feed on the live crowd interaction. But if you don't have an instrument to hide behind, you're just right there. And there's a vulnerability behind it. And for sure, you know, you've got to hit the crowd. And, you know, that's one of the things that I've always wondered about as well. It's like, so if for some reason somebody looks like they're not enjoying your show or they look a little, you know, like, I don't necessarily want to say bored, but like they just kind of look checked out. How do you deal with that when you see people like that?
Well, here's one thing, man, you know, and I had this gal come up to me Friday night and I hope that God knows none of them hear this, but you know, she came up to me. She's like, I was here to support my dad. You know, he was in the first band, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I don't really care for what they're doing. But she looked at me and she goes, you know what? You guys are on a whole nother level. You guys are amazing. You can tell you guys got your stuff together. You can tell you guys know what you're doing. You know how to sell what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And she's like, well, what do I tell my dad? You know, and I'm like, well, like I tell everybody else, got to believe in what you're doing, man.
Yep.
You got to keep pushing. You got to keep pushing that envelope, because if you don't have anybody telling you that, then you're never going to know.
Absolutely.
You know? And I've had several people. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've been down in the dumps before because, man, I don't know, man, did I give it my best? You know what I'm saying? You know, over the years, you got to stop doing that. You know, you got to stop saying, man, did I really give it my best? No, you go up there and give it your best, man. If you have an off night, you have an off night. It's always another time, man. There's always another time you're going to get up there and do it again, you know? And that's just what I tell people, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't like seeing people be discouraged about music, because music keeps you young at heart, man. And you can't let it discourage you, because it'll eat you alive. And it destroys some people. It
very much does. That's very true. So since we're in the holiday season, Christmas or Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving, a long shot. It's not even close, bro.
What was the first album that you bought with your own money?
It's AC/DC Back in Black. I was a freshman in high school.
Nice. And it's such a great album, though. I mean, it's got...
I still listen to it.
I mean, yeah, you've got the big songs.
How could you not be driving down the road and giving a dog a bone comes on, dude, and you just don't reach over at that dial and go crank?
Right?
You know what I'm saying? Come on. I mean, that's just such natural hook, man. Those guys, they're just oozing with it, man. And they've kept it simple and groovy for 40 years, dude.
Right, right.
You know, when they first came out, they came to the States on almost nothing. They came here just to go, man. We're just going to go for it. You know, they had no idea what they were going to do over here, you know, and look at them. I mean, look at them. They stuck with their craft, man, and developed it and made it a monster.
Definitely. And, you know, that album in particular, yeah, it obviously has You Shook Me All Night Long and Back in Black and Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution on there and Hell's Bells. But, like, just even the album cuts, the deep cuts, as people say, like, Have a Drink on Me, What Do You Do for Money, Honey? You know, Let Me Put My Love Into You. That is, like, that album, start to stop, is a complete playthrough.
Solid.
And it's like that. I can't skip a song on that album because it's so good of an album. And I don't know if
it's a masterpiece.
Right.
That's why it's the number one selling, you know, people don't say rock and roll or metal, whatever. It's still the number one / rock and roll / metal album of all time. Still to this day.
And that's the thing. You know, I don't get it if it's like, I don't understand if it's like something that they did or if it was something that like Mutt Lange did with them, because don't get me wrong, when George was producing their albums as well, George Young, they've got some great albums with him too. And so it leads me to believe that it's them. It's Angus and Malcolm that were just there and knew exactly what to do.
Yeah. And you know, Bon Scott was the shit. That charisma that Bon Scott, you know, it started with him.
Right.
You know, the charisma started with him, and, you know, unfortunately we lost him, you know, and he even told those guys, man, if anything happens to me, I want this guy to replace me. He already told them who he wanted. And that's just bizarre to me, man. And that's a true story. There's nothing fake about that. That is the honest truth, man. I've read that book. Right. I know Susan Messino, who wrote the book. I know her personally.
Nice. And everyone knows that, like, you know, Brian Johnson came from the band Geordie.
Right.
And definitely. So I have one more question, but before we get into it, Do you have any shout outs you want to give to anybody today?
Oh man, there's so many. God, dude, I don't even know where to begin, but definitely Jessica Wilcox. She's pretty much got this going for us.
Absolutely.
You know, Dave from Biohazard Records, Yvonne Loveland from Voodoo Queen Management, all our girlfriends, ex-girlfriends, all the people that love us, hate us, big shout outs.
Absolutely. And I think that, you know, especially to Dave as well. Dave from Biohazardous Recordings.
Yeah.
Super rad guy. If you go back into the archives, listeners out there, if you go back into the archives, he is actually featured on my Metal Fest review show, which is back at the end of July.
Yeah, he told me about that.
Yep. He is such a good dude. I've known him forever, it seems like. And, you know, he's one of those friends that, you know, we didn't talk for like 4 or 5 years, but as soon as I saw him in person again, it's like, dude, hey man, how have you been? What's going on? And we picked up right where we left off. Shout out to him. He's awesome people.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you're ever in a jam, dude, and you need some muscle, you got
He's got it. He definitely has it.
Oh yeah.
So,
good stuff, man.
So for the listeners out there, recommend one album or artist out there to get into.
Well, I mean, so many, man. I mean,
I know it's a tough question. It just depends on the age group too, man. You know, I mean, if you're talking old school people, I mean, so I could sit here and we could talk for a whole another hour just on that. You know, right?
I'd say "Power of the Night" by Sabotage, "Vulgar Display of Power" by Pantera. Any of the Gojira albums are all just ridiculous badass. First 3 Chimera albums for sure. Madonna's Like a Virgin.
You threw that in on me. I was about to be like, all right, yeah, let's do it. And you threw that in and come on, really?
I always give my guys shit when we're running down the road, you know, because they're always like in control of the music that's being played, and they play a lot of stuff I don't even know what they're even saying, you know. And they're like, "Oh man, that's dope." I said, "What'd he say?" "Well, I don't know." I'm like, "Not dope to me."
Right.
But anyway, and I'm like, "Well," I said, "Am I going to get to hear Madonna's Like a Virgin today?" "No." I'm like, "Why not?" "Nope, you're not listening to it." I'm like, "Well, I just want to hear something, you know, it's kind of hooky." And so on my way here, I played Madonna's Like a Virgin.
Not a problem with it at all.
Yeah.
Dude, Rich, as always, links will be listed below. Please give these guys a like, a share, and a follow, and go purchase music from them. Purchase albums, purchase the album, purchase shirts, whatever you do. Go see them live and in person. Rich, thank you so much for coming in the Metal Forge this week. I appreciate it. I need to get back up to Danville. It's been so long since I've been there. I just, you know, I got to go back to Charts, and I got to drop him some money there. And
I'll
just
give you a reason
awesome.
This summer, brother. Okay? I'll give you a reason this summer. You're going to see bands that's going to be in Danville that you're going to be like, "Oh, dude, I got to go to this show."
Hell yeah. Absolutely. So, off of Symbolic Voices, what are we going to lead out with today?
Oh, Symbolic Voices, huh? Well, of course, you know, to me, that's the masterpiece on there. But I would say today, the reason I'm insane.
So you heard him. This is from Blood of Heroes, Symbolic Voices album. This is Reason I'm Insane.
Skeletons turning over stones. I see no demons.
skeletons turning over stones. I see your demons. You don't even know my name. You're the reason I'm insane. Cast the first stone. Save the best for last. Cast the first stone. Shove it up your
Hey, thank you all for tuning into this week's episode of the Metal Forge. I want to take a minute to remind you guys about the Patreon page. Over on the Patreon page, we have the tiers set up to support the production of the show. We feature the Down and Dirty, which is just $1. There's nothing special for that one, it just sends me a thank you because every dollar helps. Then there's the Double Down and Dirty. Much akin to the Down and Dirty tier, everything helps produce the show in the end. You make your presence known, and I appreciate that more than you realize. Thank you for being a dedicated friend and supporter to the Metal Forge. By selecting that tier, you will receive some cool Metal Forge stickers in your mailbox. Now, we're really going to start pounding the metal madness with the Apprentice Metalhead for just $5 a month. By becoming an Apprentice Metalhead, you'll be given early access to the shows, published 24 hours before everyone else gets it. You're also going to receive 3 entries in any contest that we do here at the Metal Forge. You're also going to receive a 10% discount on all Metal Forge merch, and you're going to receive a sweet Metal Forge patch for your battle jacket or backpack. And now, here is the big one. This is the Master Metalhead for just $10 a month. By becoming a Master Metalhead, you will receive a hand-numbered Metal Forge Master Metalhead membership card. You're going to be given early access to the shows as well, with 36 hours before everyone else. You're going to receive 5 entries in any contest that we do here at the Metal Forge. You'll be able to submit audio questions that I will use on the show of you asking questions to the upcoming guests. Remember, timing is everything, and you will need to keep up with the upcoming guest list on the website. You're also going to receive advanced knowledge of any new merch coming out and be given a 25% discount on all Metal Forge merch. And you're also going to get all of the other rewards from the other tiers. So visit patreon.com/Metal Forge Radio today and help support the Metal Forge. Rock on.